Good morning, Lord. Today's a new day. A chance for a new start. Yesterday is gone. And with it, any regrets, mistakes, or failures I may have experienced. It's a good day to be glad and give thanks. And I do, Lord. Thank you for today. A new opportunity to love, give, and be all that you want me to be. Today I want to start the day with you on my mind and in my heart. As I dress, let me wear the armor you've provided daily, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, the belt of truth, the shoes of peace, and the sword of the Spirit, with prayer on my tongue, praise for you, and petitions for those around me and those I meet. Feed me today with your daily bread, as the bread of life. Your food, like manna, will sustain me throughout any trials and hungers. Help me to set my thoughts on things above, and to speak only what will help and encourage others. Keep me from putting my foot in my mouth, and help me guard the affections of my heart today, Lord. Make whatever work I do be marked with excellence rather than perfectionism. As I seek not to make a name, but to make a difference. Help me to treat each person I encounter as you would, with respect and love, forgiving others and asking for forgiveness myself when needed. As I start this day, help me remember that I belong to you, and my desire is to act accordingly. Keep my feet from stumbling, and my mind from wandering into distractions that could steal precious time and energy from the most important things you have designed for me. I'm proud to be your child, Lord. And I'm so grateful that you died for me, rising again so that every day could be filled with the wonder of your love, the freedom of your spirit, and the joy of knowing you. I know earthly life is short and fleeting, Lord. But I want to live today as if it were the first or the last day of my life, giving thanks for every good and perfect gift you choose to give today and every day. I want to live my life for you, Jesus. In your precious name, I pray. Amen.
Hello, good morning, STEM 3, and welcome to our second day of discussion slash lecture on General Biology 1 for the fourth grading. Today's topic will be something that you already know from as early as grade school. Really, it's early as grade school or as late as junior high school, and that is photosynthesis. Nabulol na noon ko, photosynthesis. So, yeah, it will be quite a lengthy discussion because, again, photosynthesis is quite a lengthy topic as well. It is a kind of complex and detailed topic. So please brace yourselves for that. Anyway, so before we formally begin our class, let me greet you. Good morning, Big. Good morning, STEM 3.
Good morning,
Morning, ma'am.
ma'am.
Morning, ma'am. How about the others? Wala kagamay ra nag-reply sa
Morning, ma'am.
ako.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Okay, how about the others? Ang uban.
Good
Morning,
morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Ayan. There are, how many are we? There are 32 of you in our synchronous session. Asa mang uban? Saan sila? OMG. Okay. Let me have a little bit of an update on your progress in your performance task. Type 1 in the chat box if nakabasa na mo sa inyong performance task. Type 2 if wala pa. Hold up. Ambi mong kwarta. Say nine, Charles. Okay. Wala pa ko nag-demand na dapat mahuman na ninyo ha because there you still have like a few days left to do that. Because I'll be giving Thursday as an asynchronous day for you to do that. Yeah. And then you have Friday to do that as well. The experiments are so simple. You can do that in like 30 minutes. And then if you live nearby sa imong classmate, sa imong friend na classmate, you can do that together as long as you follow the COVID-19 protocols. And then yeah, nine kay wala kasabot halaka nga ano kasabot. Nag-attach sabi ako video ato ha. So both the activity sheet and the video jud ka kasabot. Pantay lang jud ka. Just kidding. Anyways, I hope that you had a good weekend. I had a very tiring weekend. I am so tired and I have a cold today. So um Mona, sometimes if you'll notice later on mabulol ko sometimes because of my cold. So I apologize in advance if I do that, okay? And yeah, I hope you had a well rest I hope that you're well rested. You had a good weekend, that you slept well, that you ate well, that you had fun, or kung wala mo nalipay sa inyong weekend, at least you are contented. Rots. Me, my best friend who now lives in London came home, and I was with her throughout all of her laag, so I'm very very tired. I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep. So that's what I feel. But anyways, inanat siya. By the way, I'll notify you in advance, because my there's a death in my family. No, somebody died in our family, and then I have to attend the burial on Wednesday. So I'm not sure if we are going to see each other synchronously on Wednesday. I will just announce that sa atong Google Classroom. No, so if ever delete the synchronous, I'll just attach a link to a recording of for our supposed topic for that day, so Wednesday, no, and the topic for that day will be electron transport chain and anaerobic respiration. Yeah, so those are the two topics. Dili naman to super lengthy sa the topics, so they're just gonna, yeah. Yeah, so kato siya. So just notifying you in advance that that will happen. And by the way, may I have also an update of your quiz, no? In our chat box, kindly type 1 if naka-answer na mo sa short quiz number 5 ATP, and type 2 if wala pa. Okay, daghan na naman. Hala, si Arvin wala pa. Why? Why, Arvin?
Wala ko kabalo nga na quiz, ma'am.
Oh, grabe sad ikaw ron lugar.
Ay, kanon siya na quiz, ma'am.
Hala, classmates, kanus-ado to nga quiz. Igna siya. Kanus-ado to nga quiz. Oy, kanus mo nag-answer.
February, manata.
Oh, February pa, no? February yun sa February 28. Ito eh. Ingon ni Karima, Friday. Okay, that was last Friday lang ga. So that was what? March 31st. No, April 1. Joke na to. That was April 1. Oo. Ano mo makakabalo na mag-ana man na magbagting man sa imong Google Classroom. Agoy. So please be attentive, okay? Make sure that you have answered your short quizzes timely. So kung moingon gali siya nga kuan kanang close na ang Google Forms, sorry, but close na siya. So lantawi lang if open pa ba ang Google Form. All right, so we have to start our class, or we have to formally start our discussion because kanang nakuan ko natagam ko ganina sa STEM 6, no, medyo dugay jud min human. 2 hours jud siya. So we will do our best nga dili ni siya mag 2 hours kining photosynthesis. All right, so photosynthesis, you have encountered this since grade school, as I said to you, Nina, and you have already also encountered this in junior high school. So just we will just revisit this, and we will add more information to what you have learned previously in junior high school. So photosynthesis in a nutshell is basically how your plants are able to produce energy. No, remember our discussion last Friday? We talked about the ATP ADP cycle, right? How ATP is derived from ADP, and how ADP is also derived from ATP. No, inana siya. It's a cycle. Photosynthesis is also like that. Actually, photosynthesis and cellular respiration, which is our topic tomorrow, are basically cycles, no? And that is why it was important for me to talk about ATP and the ADP cycle last Friday, because at least karon you will medyo makasabot na mo, no, nga kini ding mga substance nga naa dinhi, kining electron carrier and also the energy source, they are in a cycle. They work like that. So photosynthesis is anabolic in nature. What do you mean by anabolic? Anabolic means you're taking in small molecules, combining them, and in the end, you're making a large molecule. So this is an example of that. This is the formula of a simplified formula of photosynthesis kining naa sa ubos, no? You take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and then water from the ground, pretty soon na siya, water from water vapor, and then with the photons from the sun, the plants will be able to produce glucose. But actually, pwede ni siya kung ano, kay plants pa ni siya. So, ang iyang gina-produce sa mga sugars kay starch, cellulose, sucrose, kana sila ng mga plants, ay kana sila ng mga sugars, and then oxygen as a byproduct. So, if you're going to look at this, you are combining carbon dioxide and water, which are small molecules, no? And then combining them to produce a larger molecule, which is your glucose. Now, photosynthesis is an endergonic process, meaning it stores energy. Remember, what is photosynthesis? It is a way for your plants to produce their own sugars, or aka their own food. No, so because of that, they produce their own food. That would mean that the plants are trying to store energy. Okay, so basically that's what happens with plants. They take in the carbon dioxide, water, producing glucose or starch, cellulose or sucrose. But again, these are polysaccharides, and and sucrose is an oligosaccharide. Nakabulol na sad ko. Sucrose is an oligosaccharide, and then releasing oxygen as a byproduct. Now, where does photosynthesis take place? Now, if you notice, my slide, or the slide that I'm using right now, is different from the slide that I have published in your Google Classroom. But do not worry, because the contents of this slide is the same as the contents of that slide, or that PDF file that I have posted in your Google Classroom. So you don't need to ask for a copy of this slide, okay? It's just the same, pero gilahi lang ako siya because this is what I used to write things on. So mas daghan ni siya blank na mga slides. So where does photosynthesis take place? Any ideas from the class? You can write in the chat box, or you can also unmute your microphones if you would like to answer. Where does it take place, your photosynthesis? Ana si Janine, chloroplast, yes. How about the others? Chloroplast, yeah. Chloroplast. Chloroplast. But where can you find chloroplasts? Ano mo na makita? Sa plant, yeah. What part of the plant? The leaves. Very good, Janine. So photosynthesis actually happens, or it occurs in your leaves. Now, if you notice, your leaves will have a waxy surface, and waxy na part mo na siya iyang front na part, and Below ana, that is the dull part, no, na ay part lang nga walay wax. So actually kanang imuhang ay ang imuhang leaves na ana sila pores, no, na sila opening, no, and you call them your stoma, or sa plural form niya is stomata. So these stomata will have guard cells, two guard cells surrounding it. So this is a guard cell and this is also a guard cell, and these guard cells enable your stoma to open and close, no. And then and the process of photosynthesis specifically happens in the specialized cells in your leaves called the mesophyll cells. These cells will have your chloroplast dion. So same definition of concept from what we learned before, wherein I said that just because you only see one organelle in the model, it does not mean that one kind of cell will only have one mitochondrion as well, di ba? Muna kong i-explain sa una that it depends on what kind of cell it is and its function. So in this case, because these mesophyll cells are responsible for carrying out photosynthesis, it will need more chloroplast. So these cells will have a lot more chloroplast versus the other cells that are found in your plant. And plants are autotrophs, no? They make their own sugars. They make their own food. So in that case, kini imong stomata, kini mo imong stomata, the pores, no? They can open and close, but they are not always open and they're not always closed. There will be times in the day when it is open and when it is closed. So why is that the case? Because your pores, your stoma, when it opens, it takes in carbon dioxide. And then pwede sad niya ipagawa si oxygen. But then, it also runs the risk of having water evaporated. Pwede siya ma-dehydrate when it always opens its stoma. So, what your plants do is that when it senses that it is very hot outside, it will not open its stoma. So when it does not open its stoma, carbon dioxide cannot come in and oxygen cannot go out. Okay. So that is the main reason why. 'Di ba? Ang carbon dioxide is very essential for photosynthesis to occur alongside your sunlight and your water. But without carbon dioxide, it will never happen. The Calvin cycle will never happen. We'll talk about Calvin cycle later. So when that does not happen, it is not effective ang imong photosynthesis. That is the reason why if you know if you have parents or if you have relatives that are plantitos and plantitas, no, you will know that the best time to water your plants is early in the morning, right? Early in the morning or very late in the afternoon. Why? Because photosynthesis is very efficient during that time. Why? Because dili pa man na siya super init. So, kung dili pa super init, ana si planta, oy, okay pa ang temperature. I'm good. I can take in sunlight. I can also take in carbon dioxide. So, I'm going to open my pores. Ana si plant. So, that's what it does, no? It opens its pores during early in the morning, and then it will start photosynthesis. And then at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. until the afternoon when it's very hot and it's very sunny outside, it will then close its stomata para dili siya ma-dehydrate. Ana. So that is the task of your stomata. Okay, then this is your mesophyll cells. Your mesophyll cells are specialized cells that have chloroplasts that are found primarily on your leaves. So I'll not talk about this anymore. Basta daghan siya og chloroplast. Mura din na siya. So look at the chloroplast. So this is a visualization of your chloroplast. So your chloroplast is also part of the membrane-bound organelles. Apil gyapon siya sa mga mitochondrion, mga lysosomes, kana siya uban siya na nila, no? Why? Because it will have membranes in it. So it has an outer membrane and an inner membrane, and it will have these structures inside of it. Now, ang iyang space which is filled of liquid, is called your stroma. The stroma is like the cytoplasm of your cell. But in this case, it's the cytoplasm of your thylakoid. Ay, thylakoid, your chloroplast. Ana siya. So that's your stroma. And another structure is your thylakoid. Your thylakoid is like this pancake like thing, it's color green, and that is where your pigments are located. So that is your thylakoid. Now, dili lang man na siya usa ka buok, no, these are stacked. Thylakoid, 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 na siya, it's stacked together. And a stack of thylakoids is what you call your granum. One stack is called a granum. If there are many stacks, you call that grana. Okay, so plural for that is grana. Okay, and then you have your stroma lamellae, which actually connects these granum or these grana together. Now, your thylakoid, specifically in the membrane of the thylakoid, this is the location of your light-dependent reactions. That is the first process under photosynthesis. And then your stroma is the location of the second process under photosynthesis, and that is your light independent reactions or your Calvin cycle. Ayan. So those two locations are very important to remember because again, those are the sites of the two stages that are found in your photosynthesis. Natukan ko sa laway. Kajut lang. Have you ever choked in your own saliva? I have. Ah, my God. All right, let's resume. Sorry about that. All right. Your chloroplast again, this is the organelle where photosynthesis takes place. And remember, thylakoid, step one, stroma, step two. Okay, remember that. So, of course, ang imo sang thylakoid, because it's pancake shaped, naasad kay thylakoid space and naasad kay thylakoid membrane. Your thylakoid membrane is basically where this light dependent what do you call this light dependent reactions actually happen, and then the thylakoid space is basically where your hydrogen protons will be concentrated. And do not worry, we'll be talking about that. Mama, say hydrogen protons, what's going on? Don't worry, because we will go in depth later. Now, let me just give you a disclaimer. We are not going to go like so much into detail sa ato ang sa tanang processes. No, we'll not do that because I will leave the very many details to your college teacher on biochemistry in the future. So we will just go into more details lang, not so much, not all details, just some details. Ano lang. So, question, why are plants green? Why are plants green? You can answer in the chat box. You can also unmute. Kamu bahala. Tungod sa pigments, ana si Janine. What about the pigments? What about them? Ana si Eureka, because of chlorophyll? Ano siya? Mm-hmm. Yeah, partially. Uh-huh. What about the pigments? What about the chlorophyll that makes it green? Sakto mo, no? It's chlorophyll. It has something to do with chlorophyll. What does it do? Does it absorb the green color or does it reflect the green color? Ano si Kathleen, because they absorb red light? Mm-hmm. I should change my posture. Oh my God. I slouch. Reflect sa light. Ano si Janine? What kind of light? Ana si Karima absorb, ana si Robert reflect, ana si Janine sunlight. Huh? What is sunlight? Because a small amount of light they reflect is that color. And what color is that? Unused green light. All right. So correct si Phoebe. They absorb red light, actually a little bit of blue, and then in exchange it will reflect the green. So that's why. So that is because of your chlorophyll molecules. Your chlorophyll molecules, these are pigments, no? Mom, pigments, di ba? Kanang pigments mo na siya kana naa sa imong eyeshadow, sa imong paint, yes, kana siya, no? But the thing about these pigments is they absorb those lights, and then those lights, they absorb reds and the yellows and the blues, and then they reflect green light. They don't like green light, so they just reflect it right back. They're located in the thylakoid membranes because remember, the thylakoid membranes is the location of your light dependent reaction. So it has your chlorophyll molecules has something to do with your light dependent reactions. It actually captures that light and enables that light to be converted into excited electrons. Inana siya. So it enables your light energy to be converted into chemical energy. Your chlorophyll will have a magnesium ion in the center and they harvest energy. So they also reflect the green wavelength of light. So you have two types of chlorophyll. You have chlorophyll A, which is the site of photosynthesis. It is the main player of photosynthesis and the light dependent reactions, and it is found in the chloroplast. So your chlorophyll B, on the other hand, it's not involved in photosynthesis at all. It absorbs mainly blue and orange light, but reflects olive green. That is the explanation why. If you're going to look at the greenery around you, not all of the plants, not all of the leaves will have the same color. No, some of them will be in different shades of color. Now, I'm not very good with color green. I don't know all of the shades of green. I know only olive green, mint green, sila. But yeah, that's the reason why there are varying shades of green when you look at a huge field of greenery. But the chlorophyll B does not participate at all in the light dependent reaction. So wala siya labot ana, but it just helps, help lang siya. So we'll not talk about the light and the pigments. Ikay na to na focus man good. We will focus on the processes, Jude. Now, another question. During the fall, what causes the leaves to change colors? Okay, we don't have fall season here in the Philippines. I know that, but I think you've seen like photos and TikToks and videos or movies that feature the autumn season, no? Now, why do leaves change color? Di ba, makita ninyo na mahulog ang mga leaves sa, let's say, sa New York, and then ang mga leaves kay color yellow, color red. Why is that a case? Any idea? Chlorophyll breakdown, ma'am? Uh-huh, chlorophyll breaks down. Okay. Yeah, that's partially true. And then yes, what happens when chlorophyll breaks down? Kung mag-breakdown ang chlorophyll mo, mugawas ang other pigments, no? Na kay other pigments like your the orange, the yellows, the reds, kana sila, the browns, kana siya, no? So you have like your carotenoids, which give off like the reds, the yellows, the oranges, and then you have your phycobilins, which are more common in cyanobacteria, no, but and other algae, but they also exhibit like this what do you call this brownish color, reddish brownish color. Okay, so dara mo gawas ang ubang color, no, kay mawala man ang green color. So that is it for pigments. All right, so let's check your understanding. Identify the terms being described by the following statements. You can answer in the chat box. You can also unmute your microphones if you want. Number one, this biological process primarily takes place in the leaves and it harnesses solar energy to produce an organic byproduct. What is these? All right, nanay nag-answer, nanay nag-answer. All right, we have, oh, a lot of you are answering photosynthesis. Ang question ako, are you sure? Charit. Charis. Hmm? Wala na ilain? Wala na ipahabol? Wala na ipa-blanket? Hello mga blankets? No more? All right. So that's correct, no? It is photosynthesis. All right. Well done, everyone. Okay, number two. These organic molecules selectively absorb light of specific wavelengths and they are built into the thylakoid membranes of chloroplasts. What do you call them? Nika says pigment. Okay, how about the others? I kept on yawning. I'm so sorry. I was really tired over the weekend. Pigment. Wala na lain. Si Nika ra mag-answer. How about the others? Anybody else? Wala na yung laing answer? Absorb light of specific wavelengths. Unsa ni siya? Ana sila chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is part of them. What do you call them collectively? What do you call the carotenoids, phycobilins, the chlorophylls? What do you call them? All right. Well done. That's correct. It's pigments. Ayan. So these are pigments. Well done. Okay, number three. This pigment participates directly in light reactions, which absorbs mainly blue, violet, and red colors of visible light. Participates directly. Okay, that's the keyword there. Keywords, that is. Keywords. Yeah, it's chlorophyll, but what kind of chlorophyll? What kind? Chlorophyll A. Well done. Chlorophyll A. That's small letter A. Okay, number four. This pigment absorbs mainly blue and orange light, but does not participate directly in light reactions. That is the keyword there, does not participate. But rather it conveys absorbed energy to chlorophyll A for use in the photosynthetic pathway. Ayan, ano sa mga answer o pas-pas ka? Ang dali-dali. All right. Any other na pa'y magpahabol ng answer? Yes, that's correct. It's chlorophyll B. Well done. Okay. So well done, everybody. Thank you very much for answering the questions and congratulations for answering the questions correctly. Okay, let's go to redox reaction. I don't know if this was discussed in general biology one, but I hope you remember this concept in junior high school. But because I think this was introduced in junior high. So redox reactions. Redox, that's short for reduction oxidation. Okay. Basically, ang redox reaction nimo is the transfer of one or more electrons from one reactant to another. Now, oxidation basically is the loss of electron, and reduction is the gain of electron. Ma'am, it doesn't make sense. Why do you call it reduction if it means it gains electrons? Okay, do not worry because I had the same question way back when I was in high school. It really frustrated me. Like I thought nga, gipalibog-libog lang jud ta sa kuan. Sa paglibog-libog lang jud ta sa chemistry, no? Okay. So, what it means is reduction. Gitawag ni siya reduction. It's called reduction because when you gain an electron, you actually reduce the number of your you actually reduce the oxidation number of an ion. Okay. So, for example, nakay polyatomic ion nga PO4 or phosphate. This is phosphate by the way. This one kining 3 minus, that is an oxidation number. Okay. So, ang pasabutan niya, kining 3 minus is, when you say 3 minus, it means that it will need 3 electrons for it to be stable. So, kailangan hatagan siyang electrons para na ay, usa to kani, para mas stable siya. Okay? So mo nang sometimes you will see combinations of phosphate with hydrogen, no? Si hydrogen sad ang iya sang subscript diri kay 3. Ang pasabot niya kay tulo ka buok ka hydrogen electrons ang ihatag niya aning PO4 ana para mas stable din siya, mahimo na din siyang H3PO4, hydrogen phosphate ana siya, or phosphoric acid ana. So kana siya ato lang i-discard kay basig ma'am ka nang ngano nag chemistry naman ta ma'am. Okay, just I will just explain to you where this comes from, no? So it means kailangan siya tulo ka buka electrons. Now if mag-gain siya electron, like for example 3 minus plus 1 ka electron, di ba, negative 3 plus negative 1 mahimo siyang 2 minus or negative 2. Di ba? Nag-reduce iyang number. So, mao nang ang tawag din niya kay reduction. Kay nag-reduce iyang oxidation number. Get it? Did you get it? I hope so. Okay. So, hopefully you're still listening down there, up there, out there, in there. Kamo bala. Okay. So that's the explanations of redox reactions. Now, what's the importance sa niya? Redox reactions is found all over in almost all cellular processes. Daghan kayo. Okay, for example, katong ATP-ADP cycle. Okay, so di ba si ADP nag-add siya og usa ka inorganic phosphate, it will produce ATP. Okay. So what happens here? Sa ADP, nag-add siya og inorganic phosphate. When that happens, you're actually adding an electron. Okay. So when you add an electron, kini ding product diri, this is a reduction. Okay. So si ADP, when it becomes ATP, that means that ADP or adenosine diphosphate was reduced. Okay? Reduced. Kay kung naa kay gi-add na anything, you're also adding an electron there. Now, the other way around, wherein ATP will break down into ADP and inorganic phosphate, kana siya kung nag-breakdown gay na siya, ang ATP to ADP nga process, that is oxidation. Kay nawad-an man siya og inorganic phosphate, right? That's breakdown. Okay? So that's oxidation. Same gyapon na siya sa imong NAD P plus nimo. Okay, what is NAD P plus? 'Di ba I introduced this sa inyong concept atong Friday, sorry. Atong Tuesday. Thursday di ay on the ATP ADP cycle. NAD P plus is a vitamin B derivative vitamin B derivative that is an electron carrier. Okay? So, dala siyang electron. And then, where does this electron come from? Your NADP plus needs to be combined with a hydrogen proton. So, NADP plus a hydrogen proton, this will become NADPH. Ayan. So, kining NADP plus turning into NADPH, unsa man ni siya? Oxidation, reduction. What do you think? Hmm? NADP plus turning into NADPH. Is this oxidation or reduction? Krr, 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 krr. Wala. Reduction. Si Janine, kapangupya kang Nika. Charis. Oxidation. Okay, let's go back to the concept. Kung mag-add ka og something, okay. And then, ang product din niya kay, nag-combine silang duha, katong duha ka reactants. Like for example, kay NADP plus, nadugangan siya og hydrogen, nahimo siyang dako, nahimo siyang NADPH, ning taas siya. That is reduction because you're gaining electrons, no? You're gaining electrons. Remember that. When you're adding something to something, you're adding something to something. When you're adding something to a specific molecule, you're also adding electrons. So when that happens, that is considered to be a reduction reaction. Now, if nag-break down si NADPH, it is broken down into NADP plus and hydrogen ions. Pag breakdown na niya, unsa man ni siya? Ay, sa ato sa erase. This is oxidation na dayon. Kung nag-breakdown siya. Di ba? Taas kay siya, NADPH, nahimo siyang NADP plus na lang. Okay. Ma'am, unsa lang NADP plus, ma'am? Unsa na siya? Okay, as I've said kanina, this is a vitamin B derivative and ang gamit na jud ani niya is it carries electrons. And when that happens, kanang mag-donate man din siya electrons, no? Kay carry mo siya electron, dalon niya somewhere nga kailangan i-release ang electron. Alongside that is i-release niya ang hydrogen. Pag-breakdown niya. O, na siya. So, NADP plus is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate per taas kay siya, diba? Taas kay siya. Gusto mo, inano ka taas. Ako ingon per me. So, taas man kay siya. Ato nila siyang NADP plus. Alright? Alright. Okay. Mamay noon sa naman niya among teacher o magkuhan. Yes, gigutom na ko, by the way. Charot. Okay. I'll not talk about that anymore. Okay, kasabot naman mo anang redox, no, na concepts. So if you do not understand, you can just rewind the recording. Okay, so what do plant cells use for energy? Your plant cells use sunlight for energy. It's very obvious. So from the formula pa lang, no, dili ma-happen jud ang photosynthesis kung walay light, kung walay sunlight. Actually, it's not exclusive to sunlight because there are some ways of farming, like your hydroponics. Some hydroponics now ways of farming, they don't use natural sunlight. They use artificial sunlight so that it will be controlled. Dili siya dali ma-dehydrate. So that is our energy for life on Earth. I'll not talk about ATP anymore because that was talked about last Thursday. Now, let us proceed to the parts of photosynthesis. There are essentially two parts of photosynthesis. Part one is what you call your light reaction or your light dependent reaction. This produces energy from solar power in the form of ATP and NADPH. Mao ni siya ato ang main nga goals or main nga products sa imuhang light reaction or light dependent reaction. And remember, your ATP and your NADPH, they are energy storage molecules. So in a nutshell, your light reaction actually looks like this. Kining image din hi. Pero mura man mo kahilakon. Kahilakon ta ani no. Ano to, ma'am? Okay, but that's okay. We will go a little bit more in depth aning kini siya nga illustration. So basically that is step 1. Photosynthesis will never happen unless mo start to just the first process. And this is step 1. And Calvin cycle, the second stage, will also not occur. Asa ang mouse? Your Calvin cycle will also not occur unless nag stage 1 na sa kanina nag-start ta with stage 1. So Calvin cycle or the light independent reactions is also called as your carbon fixation or C3 fixation because it uses the carbon and carbon dioxide to fixate carbon in different molecules. Tanawon yung ginabuhat ni Goose diri o kining Goose tanhi naa siya kanang 5 carbon nga molecule and then gi-attach niya ang usa ka carbon ato. So that's why it's called carbon fixation. It uses the ATP and the NADPH that were produced earlier in the light-dependent reactions to produce sugars. Muna ihang goal. Glucose or what we call as G3P, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Am I correct? Yes. Kana siya. So, don't worry because again, Mom, what's G3P? G3P is basically a substance that can become can become variations of sugars. Siya ang blueprint or kung ano pa, kung what do you call this? If you're going to compare it to the human body, it's like the stem cell of sugars, no? Siya ang blueprint sa sugars. So muna ang step 2, that will be your Calvin cycle. Now let us begin. Let us look at the the overview of where this happens. No, your this is your the whole green thing is your chloroplast. Okay, and the step 1, the light reactions happens in your thylakoids, where it gets water and light energy, and that light energy actually breaks down your water, and then the oxygen will then be released as a byproduct right here. And then the hydrogen from water, kay ang light man mo kay iya mag-split ang water, no? So ang water will be split into oxygen, mo nang i-release niya, and then as hydrogen protons. So kining mga hydrogen protons nimo, ganahan din sila maglutaw-lutaw. Nasa maglutaw-lutaw. So it will create this hydrogen proton gradient inside of your thylakoids. So the hydrogen protons will accumulate inside your thylakoids. And when it reaches your ATP synthase, it will produce a lot of ATP na dayon. And then your NADPH will also be produced in the light reactions. And then in the light independent reactions, which happens in the stroma of your chloroplast, it will take in carbon dioxide, it will initiate carbon fixation, etc., etc. Basta iyahang ginabuhat is it will make glucose or G3P. And in the process, your ATP and NADPH, ilahang let go ang sa ATP, let go niya iyahang inorganic phosphate to release energy. For NADPH, iyang i-let go ang hydrogen proton, and then it will donate electrons for that. And with that, it will go back to being ADP and NADP+, which will go back to the light reactions. It's a cycle. Bisig tuyok-tuyok ra jud siya, no? Mao nang ang imuhang photosynthesis in a nutshell. Okay, in a nutshell na siya. Let's go a little bit more in depth. Okay, a little bit more. So let us begin with the light reaction or the electron flow. Your light-dependent reactions, they occur in the thylakoid membranes, okay, in the membranes tunisia. So during the light reaction, there are two possible routes for electron flow. It could be your cyclic electron flow or your non-cyclic electron flow. Okay, what's the difference between the two? Your cyclic electron flow will only utilize PS2 or PlayStation 2. Joke, bitaw. Photo system, ay sorry, not 2. Ano to kung ibutang? 1 na siya. Ayan. It will only utilize photo system 1. So as a result, you will find out later ha, we will go in depth later. So as a result, kini mong cyclic electron flow, it will only produce ATP. That's it. Muna iyang goal. Ang sa non-cyclic electron flow, this will involve your photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. Now, nganong giuna man ako si photosystem 2? It's because when light gets into your chloroplast, ang una ma-activate ana niya is your photosystem 2. Okay? Ayan na din si photosystem 1. So in that case, when this happens, sa non-cyclic electron flow, when involved ni silang duha, it means that they will produce ATP alongside NADPH. Ayan. So that is the difference between your cyclic and non-cyclic electron flow. Now, I need to pee. So, we will have like a short 2-minute break, and then please drink your water, do whatever you like. You take a break, and then we will come back after 2 minutes, okay? So, I'll just pee for a while. All right, let's go back. Raise your hand if you're still awake. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Hala, 15 ra ka buok. 17, 18, 19, 21, 22. Out of 34. Hala, asang uban. Ito eh. Thank you very much. Kindly unraise your hands. Thank you very much. At least kabalo ko nga naminaw pa mo and you're still tuning in. I know this is quite a heavy topic, but kaya no nato ni, okay? Let us endure. Huh! Ito eh. Gabi kag energy si ma'am karon. Because I only had like 4 hours of sleep. Inana dyan na siya, no? Okay, let's continue. So, let us recap. We talked about how your your like reactions has two electron flows. You have your cyclic and your non-cyclic electron flows. Your cyclic one only is able to use your photosystem one, so it will only yield ATP as a product, whereas your non-cyclic electron flow, because it uses both your photosystem one and your photosystem two, it will yield both ATP and NADPH. We will begin with the non-cyclic sa. Okay. Non-cyclic sa ta. Para sa non-cyclic. Ma'am, unsa man na, ma'am, unsa man na nga drawing, unsa man na nga illustration. Bitoy. I remember when when I was in high school, kung makakita bitaw kong mga inani kay manghina jud ko. Murag, unsa naman sad ni? Wala sa ko kasabot. Okay. Do not worry because I will not bombard you with a lot of things to remember, no. It's just the kuan lang, the main concept of the light dependent reactions. Let us begin with light dependent ni siya. I cannot, I don't know how to spell. Light dependent reactions. Let us begin with the non-cyclic electron flow. Okay. So let us establish some locations, all right? Kini siya, kining right in the middle, kining na ay kining polar head, non-polar tail. That is your thylakoid membrane, okay? So, kiniring ubos, this is the inside of your membrane. And then that's the thylakoid lumen. And then the one at the top, that is your stroma or the outside, okay? The outside of your thylakoid. Ayan. So, yeah, so those are the locations. And then you have PS2, PS1, and then mo na ang mga main na to nga mga locations, okay? Your PS2, your PS1, and your ATP synthase. Now, your PS2 stands for your photosystem 2, PS1 stands for photosystem 1. They're called photosystems because they are a collection of pigments, cofactors, and proteins. No, daghan man na sila sulod ana. But mainly, ang naadanha would be your pigment because naadiri, like for example in PS2, ang pigment na nada is your P680, and then in PS1 that's P700. Now, what happens here? Okay, the first thing that's gonna happen is light comes in. Pak! Ana si Thor nga, let there be light. Ay, thunder man ito sa iya ba? Thunder man ito. Siya ba lightning and thunder? Just ko, sorry. Okay, light comes in and then it powers up your PS2, your photosystem 2. Now, I will just call it as PS because when you say photosystem, it's very long. So, inana si PS2. So this light will excite the electrons, okay? And then it will also enable your water, because water also comes in here, your water to be spliced into oxygen and hydrogen protons. Okay. So mahiwalay siya, it will be cut into two. So kining oxygen, di man ni siya kailangan sa imong plant. So this will be released as a byproduct. Okay? Released as a byproduct. Your hydrogen atom is very important because the hydrogen atom is actually needed to activate your ATP synthase. Mo na ihang kailangan. So kini si hydrogen proton, it creates this hydrogen proton gradient inside your thylakoid. So daghan na siya no kay daghan man tubig na mo ani. So daghan sad hydrogen na ma-release ana sad siya. So it will create a hydrogen proton gradient inside of your thylakoid. Then when that happens, okay, when there's many hydrogen protons, an increase in hydrogen protons would actually make your pH decrease. Usay pasabot sa ubos nga pH? Acidic or basic? According to General Chemistry 1. Usay pasabot sa low pH? Ito lang ha. Okay. Hala, si Janine ray nag-answer. Igor ako nag-reply og message. Pero pagbalik ako si Janine ray nag-answer. Okay. All right. So this is acidic. So this would mean that the area inside of your thylakoid will be acidic compared to the stroma. Mm-mm. So it will be more acidic. Now, remember, unya na lang na siya. Taod-taod. Okay. So when that happens, electron will then be excited and then they will travel throughout these structures, like your plastoquinone, your cytochrome, hangtod na mawut siya sa PlayStation 1 joke with a photosystem 1, where again, light comes in and it will activate your P700 na pigment and then it will absorb the electrons from there, not absorb, but it will absorb the photons, which excites the electrons. Now, in this case, right here, sa 9-cyclic electron flow, ang kining electrons mo travel sa di siya paingon sa imuhang NADP, no, na naa sa stroma na area. Now, kining NADP, remember, kining NADP plus, this is an electron carrier and it needs an electron. Oh, electron carrier gani. It needs an electron to be to have energy stored into it. So kiniding electron, ana siya, uy, NADP, hello, I am here. Are you ready? Ana sa NADP, yes, I am ready. Sige, let me vault in. Ana, so pag abot ni electron, it will enable your NADP to combine with a hydrogen proton. And when that happens, it will produce NADPH. So again, this is energy stored. Kana siya. Okay. So, kana, appeal na siya sa non-cyclic pathway, okay? Pero sa cyclic pathway, wala ni siya appeal, ha? Dili mo travel si electron paingon sa gawas. Daman na siya sa PS1. All right. And then, kini dayon, because there are a lot of electrons in the membrane, dakan kay electrons in the membrane, no? Pak, dara ang mga electrons, pak, electrons. So, negatively charged ang imong membrane. Now, remember when we talked about oxidative phosphorylation last Thursday, we talked about how ATP is produced with the use of electrons. So kini mga electrons nimo, because they're negatively charged, they attract positively charged ions. And in this case, unsa man mga positively charged ions na ma-attract sa ila? That will be your hydrogen ions. Kay hydrogen protons man isla, they're positively charged. And ang buhaton ni electron kay dalon niya, i-attract niya, then dalon niya ang hydrogen paingon sa ATP synthase. Kay ay ra ma-activate si ATP synthase, which is an enzyme, when hydrogen gets into it. Ana, mo travel siya pasulod. Now, si ATP synthase, it acts like a rotor, no? A rotor is like a motor, it's a motor rotary, no? Gaana-ana siya, quick, shriek, shriek, ana. Now, kada move niya, whenever it moves, imagine nga na gate sa sulod, no? Kada move niya, mo open ang gate. Kung mo open ang gate, naa si ADP o si inorganic phosphate. Kung mo open ang gate, mag-meet silang duha, pinagtagpo at at tinadhana silang duha ha kung moabri ang gate. So para moabri ang gate, dapat na ay hydrogen proton na muagi paingon sa ATP synthase. Alright? So, kini dayon tungod kay daghan man kayo hydrogen proton, kadaghan sad mag-abri ang gate. So, munang daghan sad ATP na mahimo through this process, oxidative phosphorylation. So, when that happens, your ADP will combine with an inorganic phosphate to produce ATP, energy stored. And then, asa naman yung paingon ng hydrogen? Dito na din sa stroma. Bye! Di na ko dana sa sulod, na ko sa gawas, ayoko na sa inyo. Ana siya. Na din siya, paingon. So, so that is basically your non-cyclic electron flow. Are there any questions so far? Ma'am, kanang wala ko kasabot. Charot. Questions, please. Or basig nang lungag na mo ha? Nang lungag na mo? Sige na lang. If nang lungag mo, you're busy cooking, you're busy kanang gisugo na mo sa iyong mama palit og kuan, suka, asin, whatever, sige, fine. You can just watch the recording later. Sige. But I hope that you have understood this concept to those who are listening right now. Okay. So, patanaw man, non-cyclic naman to siya, no? Ang cyclic actually, wala lang. Walay appeal si PS2. So, si photosystem 1 ra ang gagana. Siya ra. So, ang katong electrons na travels electrons, dili siya mo adto sa gawas, paingon kang NADP. Dili siya mo adto dito. Na siya dito. Wala. So, NADP will not be, or NADPH will not be produced. There will be no NADPH. And because oxygen is released in PS2, wala say oxygen na ma-release. Okay? PS1 na lagi ang gagana. So, when that happens, travel yapon ng electron. Travel yapon siya. Then, diretso na din siya. I-attract din niya ang hydrogen protons paingon sa ATP synthase. So, bale, naagya po ATP. So, no NADPH, no oxygen, but there is ATP produced in the cyclic electron flow. Okay, so let's review. Ang imuhang non-cyclic produces ATP and NADPH. Asam ni sa paingon, your ATP and NADPH will go into your Calvin cycle. Step 2 na siya. Madto na siya sa step 2. And then your cyclic electron flow, dili gagana si PS2 or walay involvement si PS2 ha. Therefore, PS1 lang. And then in addition, the electrons will not flow outside of the membrane of the thylakoid, meaning it will not flow into NADP. So, walay NADPH na mahimo, but it will still make ATP. Alongside that, dili gyapon siya kahimo og oxygen as a byproduct. So that is it. That is your light-dependent reactions. Okay. Chemiosmosis, by the way. Ang chemiosmosis, ang katong kaganina bitaw pag-ingon nako nga, ang hydrogen ions paingon sa ATP synthase, and then moadto din siya sa gawas. Di ba, ang concept ani niya kay from higher concentration to lower concentration, si hydrogen proton, against a, ideally against, but through a membrane. 'Di ba? Unsa gali na siya? That is osmosis. So kana siya kanang pagtabok ni hydrogen from the inside of the thylakoid to the outside of the thylakoid, that is your chemiosmosis. Okay? So that is it. That is chemiosmosis. All right. I'll not talk about this anymore, ha? Ni chemiosmosis. Nagya pa ni siya sa cellular respiration. If you're still a little bit confused, what is chemiosmosis, ma'am? It's basically the flow of hydrogen. Flow of hydrogen ions from one point to another. Ano siya? Across a membrane. It is also found in cellular respiration. So all in all, ang input nato sa light-dependent reactions, we have 12 moles of water with 12 moles of NADP, 18 moles of ADP, 18 moles of inorganic phosphate, plus light, plus chlorophyll. It will ultimately yield 6 moles of oxygen, plus 12 moles of NADPH, and 18 moles of ATP. And that is only for light-dependent reactions. Okay. So that is it for light-dependent reactions. Any questions in the process? Type 1 if nakasabot, type 2 if wala. Nakasabot na si Phoebe, oh. So, ready na mo mag oral recitation. Hala, si John Lester kay 1 or 2. Unsa man na siya klaruhon nato. Si Ramlilo kay 1.5. Unsa man na, uy, 50-50. Kahadlok. For those who did not understand or katong 1.5, angkon-angkon na lang kus tinuod. For those who did not, please feel free to ask questions. Ay, yung kaulaw. Si Kea, 1.5 sad. La. At least labaw siya, no? At least kuan siya. 1.5. Naka-understand siya, pero na-part nga, hindi niya ma-understand. Ayan. So for those who do not understand, please feel free to ask questions ay magkaulaw, or if maulaw jud mo ask questions, sige balik-balikan ninyong tanaw ang recording, why not, di ba? So that is your light dependent reaction. So basically ang products ni let's go back. I'll use this screen, ha. Ang light dependent reactions, it used, if you remember, at pa din balik na sa kuan. Ini siya. Okay. So, pangit na. Let's use it. So, for the light-dependent reaction, it uses or it used light. Modyo ng pinakauna, no? That in here, light. And also water. Right here. Water, oh. Ano siya. And it will, where is this, by the way? Location. Location. This is in the thylakoid membrane. And what is its product? Products. So oxygen, number 1, byproduct lang na siya. So byproduct. And then iya yung ultimate products are ATP and NADPH. And these two will move on into Calvin cycle. Ayan. Chink. Ano siya. So, mura dito ang, if you're going to summarize it like in a nutshell, this is your light-dependent reactions. This is a non-cyclic one. Okay. Ang non-cyclic is complete man siya. It's complete PS2 and PS1. But ang cyclic, PS1 na siya. Kung mo yung cyclic, ATP ra jud na iyahang ginahimo. Ayan. So that is it for your light-dependent reactions. Okay, let's proceed. Okay. Let's proceed to checking your understanding. Identify the terms being described by the following statements. This process involves the breakdown or decomposition of a molecule by using light energy. Keywords, light energy, breakdown. What do you call that? So sorry, I had to respond to light dependent. Talaga pangopya mo sa each other. Oy, pag sure daw mo ay. Mm. Light energy as in photo, di ba? Photo. Okay. So, light and then breakdown. What's the word for breakdown? Ma'am, nag-breakdown ako, ma'am. Wa ko kabalo, ma'am. Oh, what's the word for breakdown? Hello. Starts with the letter L. Sige, maluoy man ko sa inyo. Letter L. Wala. Photo. Line. Wala, Jud. This is photolysis, okay? Photolysis. Mauni siya ang ginabuhat ni light when it breaks down water into two. Mauna siyang ginabuhat when gi-split ni light ang water into hydrogen ions and oxygen. So, mana siya ha. Okay, number two. This photosynthetic pathway involves two photosystems working together to synthesize ATP. What pathway is that? What electron flow is that? Is it non-cyclic or cyclic electron flow? Okay, ana si James Patrick, non-cyclic, si Janine cyclic. Halaka, unsa dito kung giingon about sa cyclic, oy. Gapangupya na sad sila sa each other, oh. Na, oy. Kumuyon kag non-cyclic, appeal si photosystem 1 and 2. Okay, duha ka buok. So, ingon man siya two photosystems, bale appeal si PS1 and 2 ana no. So, this will be non-cyclic. Ayan. Number 3, this photosynthetic pathway involves only the photosystem 1 and the electron transport chain. Electron transport chain, mao ni siya katong na ay release of electrons sa membrane, dayon mag-attract dayon siya hydrogen protons until dalon siya paingon sa ATP synthase. So kini siya obvious kay siya no. Usa ra man ka book. So this is cyclic pathway. Ana. So that is it. Thank you very much for those who shared their answers. Okay. So katong mga nangupya, please kuan think din tayo pag may time. Okay, let's go to Calvin cycle. All right. So this is step 2 of your photosynthesis. So Calvin cycle is also known as your carbon fixation, and it is it is done perfectly by C3 plants, no, which is like composes 80% of the plants on Earth. We are abundant here in the Philippines. We're abundant of C3 plants. All of our plants are C3 plants, and the Calvin cycle occurs in the stroma, basically gawas sa imuhang sa imuhang thylakoid, no? And it uses ATP and NADPH. So remember, asan is lagikan? They're from your light-dependent reactions. And it produces glucose. Mo na ihang main goal. It needs or it wants to produce sugars. All right. So this is your carbon cycle. Wait a minute. All right. Okay, so this is your Calvin cycle. No, there are three phases to Calvin cycle. Mama, sama naman puro naman na circle akong kakita, ma'am. Okay, don't worry. We'll go phase to phase. As in, phase in PHASE. Phase to phase in a Calvin cycle. There are three phases. You have your carbon fixation, your reduction, and your regeneration of ribulose. Okay, mo na si Calvin cycle. So in this case, tanawa, gigamit niya si ATP and C NADPH in this process. All right. So let's go to phase one, that is carbon fixation. Ano? Phase one. So phase one, you have this kanang molecule nga naa inherent sa imuhang nanadaan sa plant, which is your ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. Ayan, duha ka buo ka phosphate. Duha ka buo ka phosphates, and then 5 ka buo ka carbon. Tanawan ning red, not red, sorry, black balls. Black circles, okay? The black circles. Kining black circle, each black circle is representative of one carbon atom. Okay. So, 5 carbon atom, and then mag-combine ni siya with 1 carbon atom from carbon dioxide. So, diri mosulod si carbon dioxide. So, plus 1 carbon, ayun. So, 5 plus 1, may mo siyang 6, no? 6 carbon atom. Now, 6 carbon molecule. So, 6 carbon atom. 6 carbon molecule. So in this case, hi, sorry. Okay. So in this case, naada yung enzyme called Rubisco. Kining Rubisco will enable the katong 6 carbon molecule to be split in half. Okay? Ihation niya. So mahimo din siyang each of the hati will become 3 phosphoglycerate or 3-PGA. 3-PGA. So, tulo ka buo ka carbon, and then usa ka phosphate. Sorry. So, mo na siya ang carbon fixation. That is basically step 1. Okay? Or phase 1. You get carbon from carbon dioxide so that it will combine with the ribulose biphosphate. Okay? So far, okay pa? If walay reklamo, adto ko sa ikaduha nga phase. Basically, mauna siya. So, nakagamit ka og carbon dioxide diri. Now, let's go to phase 2. Phase 2 is what you call as reduction. Kung sa kayo pasabot sa reduction, did you lose electrons or did you gain electrons sa reduction? You gain electrons. Very, very good. So, diri dapita mag-gain og electron si 3-PGA. Asa gikan ng electrons? Gikan kang ATP o kang NADPH. Okay. So, we start off with 3-phosphoglycerate, 3-PGA, dayon with ATP, hatagan niyang electrons ang 3-PGA and an organic phosphate. Okay. So, mo nang pagtanaw nimo dinhi, nagya po tulo ka carbon, yes, but pila nakabuok iyang phosphate? Duha nakabuok. Mo nang gitawag din siya 1,3 biphosphoglycerate. Biphosphoglycerate. As in, duha ka buok ka phosphate. Ayan. So what happens to the ATP? Because it loses its last inorganic phosphate, mahimo siya balik og ADP. O yan. So asa pa yun si ADP? It will go back to the light dependent reactions. Katong kaganina, mobalik siya dito. So, mobalik siya sa membrane sa thylakoid. Okay? Kaya naaman niya siya sa stroma, di ba? Calvin cycle happens in the stroma. It will go back to the thylakoid membrane. Now, this biphosphoglycerate will need another electron. So, pag-gain yung another electron in the form of NADPH, mahimo din siyang glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, but it will also lose its inorganic phosphate as well. So, usa na lang siya ka-phosphate. Ana. So, in that case, this katong NADPH na nag-lose siya og electron o nag-lose siya og hydrogen ion, nahimo siyang NADP balik. Asa siya paingon? It will go back to the light-dependent reactions. And then katong inorganic phosphate na gisipa ni glyceraldehyde, di siya ganahan niya. So kining inorganic phosphate mo balik sa di siya sa light dependent reactions. So your that will be phase 2 reduction. So ang ultimate goal ani niya is the production of G3P. G3P. Nga naman, because G3P, actually daghan man mahimo nga G3P ani, daghan man siya. But G3P, some of it will become sugars. Okay? Some of it will become sugars. Actually, it could be glucose, it could be sucrose, it could be polysaccharides like starch or cellulose. Kana siya. Think of G3P or glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate as the blueprint of your sugars. No? Siya ang starter or siya ang stem cell sa imong sugars. And then some of the G3P will have to be regenerated. Okay. So, kining ubang G3P will go to phase 3. Ana. So, nakaabot na ta sa production of our ultimate product. Sa atong gusto ma-attain with photosynthesis. But most of G3P actually will be regenerated. Okay, so I hope you understood that. That's phase 2. Now let's go to phase 3, regeneration of ribulose. Okay, so remember, as I've said kaganina, your G3P, some of it will become sugars, and some of it, or not some of it, and most of it will become or will be regenerated into ribulose. Now, kini si glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, it will become, so nana siya ipang-attach, no? Ipang-attach dan ha. So, at butangan pa siya og another, mag-fixate na sa siya carbon, butangan siya duha na sa ka carbon molecules, etc. until it will become ribulose 5-phosphate. Okay? And then, kini ding ribulose 5-phosphate, this will, you will add an electron to this using your ATP. Okay. So, nag-add ka electron, nag-add ka og inorganic phosphate, then kiniding ribulose 5-phosphate will become ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. Duha ka buka phosphate here. Dayon, kinidayong ADP will go back to light-dependent reactions. So, bale, balik na ta sa sugod, no? Kay nganong balik man ta sa nganong ang kuan man ma'am. Nganong most of G3P man ang i-regenerate. Why is that the case? Nganong dili man pwede nga sugars na sa tanan? Dili siya pwede because this is a cycle, right? This is a cycle. And for you to make more sugars, you have to invest more G3P. Mura bitaw nagkanang sa business, even in business, right? Yes, nagtukod ka ani, nagtukod kag Jollibee, and then at the end of the fiscal year, you earned a lot of money. But then, of course, you don't get to keep or to spend all of that money. You only get to keep a little bit of it, and then irolyo na sa nimo tong most of the money, irolyo na sa ninyo to, i-reinvest na sa ninyo, you buy new stuff, or you kuan ka ng, you invest it, or you do other things, but you cannot keep it. You have to pay for other stuff for you to gain more customers or to gain better production or unsa ba. It depends. So That is also the case for your Calvin cycle. Only some of your G3P will be made into sugars, and most of it will become or will go back to being ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. Ana. So that is your Calvin cycle. So C3 fixation. Ana. So in Calvin cycle, basically, you used, let's start here. Location. Asa gali nahitabo ang Calvin cycle? Where did this happen? In what part of the chloroplast? Anyone? In the stroma. Very good. Gawas sa imong thylakoid. And it used what? First and foremost, it used your carbon dioxide. Okay? And then, nag-use ka og ATP, which is from the light-dependent reactions, and also your NADPH from the light-dependent reactions. And then your products. What are your products? So your ultimate product is basically your G3P. Or you can just write sugars or you can just write glucose. Pretty rasad na siya. And then your byproducts. You call them byproducts because they need to go back to the light-dependent reactions. And that is your ADP, your inorganic phosphate, and then your NADP plus. Okay. So those are the things that are inherent of your Calvin cycle. And those are the things that you have to remember about your Calvin cycle. Where it happens, what is being used, the products, and the byproducts as well. Okay? Any questions in the Calvin cycle? Type 1 if nakasabot, type 2 if wala, and then you have a question. Sige, go. Type 1 if nakasabot. Type 2 if wala. Si John Lester, one half na daw yan nasabtan. How about the others? Kasabot daw si Mark dyan, oh. Una na sa ng 1.5 ni Kia, oh. Na. So, how about the others? Processing pa ang brain, walay problema. Process lang nato na. Walay, no problem. You can rewatch the video if kailangan dyan di siya i-process. Oo. Basta ang main, you just have to remember the main goal of photosynthesis is to make sugars. That's it. 1 kay feeling man ko. Charot. Si James Patrick kay negative 1 na. Eyes on the board lagi James Patrick. Ayan. So that's Calvin cycle basically. We will do a little bit of we will do a summary of this taod-taod, okay? Once we're done with the rest. So overall, the overall synthetic reaction will yield the following. So reactants, you will need 6 moles of carbon dioxide plus 6 moles of water plus 18 moles of ATP plus 12 moles of NADPH. It will yield 1 mole of sugar. So daghan siya kailangan no to yield just only 1 mole of sugar plus 6 moles of oxygen plus 18 moles of ADP plus 18 moles of inorganic phosphate and 12 moles of NADP plus. So kini sila, remember, they're not really true products. They're more of kuan na siya lang kanang mobalik lagi po na sila sa light dependent reaction. So they're more of like byproducts. All right, so that's it. That is basically your photosynthesis. Let's do a checkup. Checkup lang tagamay. Identify the terms being described by the following statements. Number 1, this phase of light-independent reactions includes the reaction between phosphoglycerate and NADPH. We're talking about the phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So, phase. Kini daw si phosphoglycerate nag-react with NADPH. 3 PGA reacting with NADPH. Then, unsa gani si NADPH? Electron carrier. So, bali, nag-donate siya electron. Okay? Asa gali ito dapit ng phase ang nag-gain siya electron. What phase is that? Phase 1, 2, or 3? Ano si James Patrick? Phase 2 kuno daw. Good. Janine to John Lester reduction. How about the rest? 2. Phase 2. Ala, nangupya, oh. Char. Okay, that's correct. This is phase 2. Okay. Remember, phase 2 is reduction. Basta naagali na electron gain, that's automatically reduction. All right, number 2. This phase aims to resynthesize. That's the key word. Resynthesize RUBP or ribulose bisphosphate to prepare for succeeding carbon fixation reactions. Resynthesize. That's the key word. Okay, ano si John Lester? Regeneration. Any other answers? Phase 3, ano si James Patrick? Wala na ilain? 3, question mark, ano si Nika? One. Takol is Jiso. Okay, correct. That is phase 3. Naa sa keyword pa lang no, resynthesize. So, regeneration. Okay. Number 3, this molecule is produced after the reaction of PGA with ATP and NADPH. This molecule is produced after the reaction of PGA plus nag-add siya og ATP, nag-add ba siya NADPH, unsay product anak niya? What is the product? Okay, James Patrick, ano siya? G3P? Any other answers from the class? Okay. Wow, ladies and Ramlilo by completo. All right. Sugars. Yes. Okay, correct. This is G3P or the blueprint of sugars. So that's it. All right. Thank you very much for your answers. Congratulations to those people who got correct answers. O di ba? Kabalo malaki mo. You understood. That's great. Roots. Okay. Sige lang, that's okay. If ma'am naka-understand mo ko ma'am kining balik man ko sa slide. Remember that mastery comes from repetition. Meaning balik-baliko ni mong bahasa, balik-baliko ni mong tanaw, balik-baliko ni mong paminaw. Inana, that's how you gain mastery. All right. And then, last na nila concept. Last na lang ni kay gutom na jud tang tanan. Okay. There are times wherein your plants are subjected to like really hot, dry weather. No? Like for example, katong mga plants that are found in the desert, plants that are found in really hot places. Like even here in the Philippines, kana mga flatlands kayo like dapit sa Tarlac, dapita. So, photorespiration happens. So, bali, in high temperatures manggod, low manggod kayo ang enzyme activity. So, mura bitog kamo, mura bitog kita kung if we have fever, we don't feel well. We cannot really move a lot. We feel very weak. That is also the same for the plants, no? If the temperature is too high, the enzymes will not be able to work properly. Therefore, what do you call this? Therefore, photosynthesis will also not function properly. So, what happens there? Photorespiration. So, This is when stomatas are closed, ang imong mga stomata mag-close siya kay ngano init man kaayo so di siya willing ma-open kay kung ma-open siya ma-dehydrate siya mamatay siya no so di siya willing ana so what it does is it retains the products di ba remember in the light dependent reaction ang usa sa mga byproducts is oxygen. So, dili man siya ka-open, di man ka-open yung stomata para makasulod ang carbon dioxide. So, ayang na lang ang iha na lang buhaton, instead na carbon dioxide iyang gamiton sa Calvin cycle, ang iyang buhaton kay iyang i-fixate ang oxygen, which doesn't really help the plant. Kasi mabuhat, kay more may available. So, it will produce no sugar and no ATP at all. Okay, that's photorespiration. So this happens in C4 and cam plants, like C4 plants, for example, like sugarcane, grasses, and corn. And then the C4 plants, ay sorry, cam plants, mo siya ang mga plants na makita nimo sa ano yung mga plants na makita nimo sa desert. Kanya siya like your cactus, no? They cannot really open their stomata in the day, but they do open them at night. Mm-mm. Oh, we'll not do that anymore. Bala na siya. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a summary sa imong photosynthesis, no? We'll write here the light-dependent reactions. And then here we have your Calvin cycle. So step one, cycle, I can't spell cycle. Step one, dun na si light-dependent reactions, ha? Dito na siya mag-change. Then, I had na dayon si Calvin cycle. So, dapat una dyan si light-dependent, I had na si Calvin cycle. All right. So, in the light-dependent reaction, ato is like the it uses, sorry, kuan sa, wait a minute, bing mainit. Okay. Location, it uses, and it produces. Ayan. So let's start with the location. Asa na-locate kani si light-dependent reactions? Asa siya gakahitabo? Anyone? Where does light-dependent reactions happen? In what part of your chloroplast? In the thylakoid membrane. Good. How about your Calvin cycle? Your stroma. Well done. Okay. So, let us begin with the uses. Okay. In the light-dependent reaction, unsay ginagamit? What's the first thing that we used? What did we use? To excite the electrons? Light. Okay. Light. And then, what else? So, okay na ni siya. Kini, naan ni siya sa light-dependent reaction. Kini si light. Check. What else? Aside from light? Hydrogen? Where does the hydrogen come from? Asa siya gikan? From water. Good. Okay. So, light and water. So, okay ni siya. And then, what does it produce? It produces ATP and NADPH, yes. But before that, sa photosystem 2 pa lang, it produces what? In photosystem 2, it produces, tanawa sa products here. Asa sa duha? Is it sugar or oxygen? O2. Okay. So, produce siyang O2, but this is a byproduct, by the way. And then, sakto din to, no? You have your ATP and NADPH. I can't spell. Okay. Now, remember, these two will go on to your Calvin cycle. Now, let's go to the Calvin cycle. What does it use? Lantawi ang formula if you will get confused, okay? What does it use? First and foremost, it uses what? Carbon dioxide. Very good, because it needs the carbon from carbon dioxide. And then it will use the products of light dependent reactions, ATP and NADPH. Ayan. Cheng chiding. Okay. Now, sa katong Calvin cycle, okay, unsa iyang gina-produce? Unsa iyang ultimate product? What is its ultimate product? Sugar? Yeah, yeah. But where does it come from? What is the blueprint of sugars, or siya ang origin sa imong sugars before it will become sugars? G3P. Okay, well done. So that's the ultimate product. And then, of course, sige man ni siya ka-oxidize ning kawad-an man ning electrons ning ATP o NADPH, no? So, appeal sila sa ADP, sa inorganic phosphate, o si NAD plus. Ayan. So that's it. That's the summary, basically, of your um of photosynthesis, your light dependent reactions, and your Calvin cycle, or your light independent reactions. Okay? So that will be all for this morning. Any questions? Kabalo ko gigutom na jud kay mo, no? Ako sa gigutom sa kay ko. But do you have any questions? STEM 3. None. Okay. I trust you, ha. Bantay lang jud mo. Bantay lang jud mo gamay mo score sa exam. Okay. So, yeah, so that is it. So if there are no more questions, I'll be publishing your quiz this afternoon, right after all of your classes, so that hiyang mo mag-answer sa inyong quiz, no? And we will continue with, we will continue with cellular respiration tomorrow. Mom, another one? Oh, another one. All right, so that will be all for this afternoon. That will be all for this morning. STEM 3, thank you very much for coming to our synchronous class this morning. I'll see you again tomorrow for our discussion on cellular respiration. That will be on glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Sa dayon, I will just leave. I don't know if I will leave a recording for the ETC and the we'll just see. Okay, I'll just inform you by then. All right, so that is all. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much for paying attention, answering our question and answers. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Please answer your quiz later in the afternoon. Goodbye, STEM 3, and have a good lunch. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye,
God bless.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Bye, ma'am.